on? Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Let's Ride video series. This is your host, Duncan Lee, and I'm here this week to talk to you about Avalanche education and how to prep for winter, really. So this year with COVID and everything, it's pretty interesting. There's a lot less events going on. However, there are some awesome awareness events happening out there, and I highly suggest you take the time to go check one of them out. You'll learn, well, you'll actually talk about a lot of the things that you'll need to learn, but you'll find out the real importance of why you need to go take a class on the snow. Okay, so this week on the Let's Ride video series, it's about Avalanche education. Well, actually for the next 5 weeks or so, you know, that's just what we're all about anyways. So I'm gonna break down a couple of things for you. You've probably heard about the Know Before You Go awareness campaign. It's 5 key messages: get the gear, get the training, get the forecast, get the picture, and get out of harm's way. So what are these things? Well, over the next few episodes, I'm going to break down each component for you. So let's start with number 1, get the gear. Okay, so you want to be a backcountry rider, or you already are a backcountry rider. There's a few things that you need to have in order to have a safe time out there, ride epic POW, go to some epic locations, shred hard, or just have fun and make it home after every single ride. So getting the gear is step number 1. The gear is a transceiver, a probe, shovel, and an Avalanche airbag. Now, a transceiver, let's dig into it. I personally use a Mammut products, the Barryvox S. It has the most advanced features on the market and is the #1 transceiver used by Avalanche professionals today. So why the Mammut S? Well, it's high tech, right? But the nice thing about it is you can turn off those functions if you're a beginner, and you can actually grow with this transceiver. Now, I don't want this to be a product checkout. You need something that you're familiar with. In other words, whatever you get, you need to practice with it so you know how the functions work. Most transceivers have a different way of flagging multiple burials, so that's a very important function if you're going to be in that situation. It's more important to avoid avalanches altogether, but these are the safety items we need to have just in case. It needs to be 3 antenna, and basically anything within the last 5 years is a safe transceiver to purchase. Why is it not as good for 5 years previous or older than 5 years? Well, it might be a 2 antenna transceiver, which just means you don't have the range of a newer transceiver. All these companies are always updating their products and making them better, so a newer transceiver is worth it. You're looking at $300 to $450 depending on the model you get, maybe even less. But if you ask me, this is a life-saving tool that is more important for me, and if I make a mistake and get an avalanche, then I need to have it, so it's worth the money, no matter what the price is for it. So a transceiver, 3 antenna, within the last 5 years, check for updates. Check with the manufacturer to see if there's any recalls, any updates, and to make sure that your product or your transceiver is working appropriately. Take the batteries out every summer. If you're going to sit more than 4 weeks, take the batteries out. Make sure you have fresh batteries. Make sure that your percentage of battery life before you go ride is at the correct level. So read your manual. Find out what that battery life is supposed to be so you can go out for a day in the backcountry successfully and your transceiver doesn't run out of batteries. The transceiver is supposed to be worn on your person just over your most under layer. That way it's safe. They come with a harness so you can strap it to your body underneath your jacket. Find out all the features, understand how to use them. Go take a class on the snow, a rescue course or a level 1. Get dialed in with your transceiver. We all need to practice more. So learning how to use your transceiver is vital to your survival if you get in an avalanche or your buddy gets in an avalanche. You owe it to your riding partners to know how to use your gear. And you'll see that it takes some skill. There's a process to the madness, or actually just a process to rescue, that you need to learn how to do, and that's why you should take a formalized avalanche education course. You know, one thing I forgot to mention on the transceiver is what type of batteries to use. Well, not lithium. Lithium don't do good in cold. You want alkaline, good old trusty AA's or AAA's is what most transceivers take, and you know, just Energizer, Duracell, brand name stuff, tried and true. You don't want to have a failure when you're out there. And a little pro tip, pack extra batteries in your gear bag when you go ride, because almost every ride somebody in the parking lot probably is out of batteries and forgot to pick them up at the store. So that's about it on transceivers. There's a bunch of different models out there. Get something new, spend the $300-ish, learn how to use it, do it right. Okay, let's talk about Avalanche probes. Everybody also needs a probe. Probe goes in your pack on your person. That's why everybody should ride with a backpack. You need to have your probe and your shovel in there. But a probe, it depends on how it goes together, how sturdy it is, and I think 300 centimeters is the minimum length you should have to be a snowmobiler. Make sure you have a long enough probe so you don't come up short. How it locks together is very important. Again, I use the Mammut products. I like the locking cam device on the top. You can see how it goes together here. And then using your probe, another reason why you need formal avalanche education. Go take a rescue class or that level 1 course. Probing is specific. This is probably the most undervalued step in the rescue process. When you probe, it's a spiral probing pattern. You start with where you got your lowest signal with your transceiver, and then you start probing out like this. It's really important to take this slow and methodical and make sure that the length in between each probe spot is around 25 centimeters or about a foot. Then you work your way out in an expanding spiral until you get a probe strike. You never want to abandon your probing until you get that strike, because it is effective, it does work, and it does take practice. Imagine being in the heat of the moment when your best friend is buried in an avalanche, and you need to do this specifically, methodically, and effectively. This is why you need to train, because if you get in that situation, your adrenaline's going through the roof and everything's going crazy, and all you want to do is dig them out. But without a probe strike, you won't know where to dig. So probes, there's a bunch of different ones out there. Make sure you don't buy junk. There's a few top manufacturers. Make sure that you check it out. Check out your buddies, check out some other people's. If you go to a snow show, go check the products and then make a decision. It's important how it locks together, the durability of it, and if it's long enough, so 300 centimeters. Okay, let's dig into the Avalanche Shovel. This is a safety tool, life-saving device. It's not for digging your sled out. If you notice, I ride with 2 shovels, one in my pack for saving lives, and then one on my sled for digging my stuck butt out. Happens all the time, right? So I like to have the 2. I can trash the one that's on my sled. I'm not worried about it breaking. You know, I kind of am, but for a life-saving device, the one in my pack is the one that I know won't break in the time of need. So it needs to be aluminum. How it attaches is nice. The Mammut goes together. It's one of the fastest assembly shovels out there, and it has a hoe feature. So you can actually change, get a better grip on it and move more snow. And then effective team shoveling in a rescue is important. So on the shovel, having a D-ring is really nice. You get a better grip and then an extendable handle as well, so you're not breaking your back. As you'll notice in the video, on your knees, chopping away chunks of snow, trying to dig down and then in. You jump back from your probe strike 1.5 times the burial depth, and then you dig down and in. It's been proven to be more effective than just digging straight down, because what happens with that post hole? Yeah, you start to get smaller, and then you're standing on your victim. So it's better to jump back, dig down and in, and then you're able to pull your victim out of the snow and be more effective that way. You also don't break your back. So those are your life-saving tools, the ones you need to get found, the ones you need to find somebody else: a transceiver, a probe, and a shovel. Okay, so the last piece that you need to have, in my opinion, is an Avalanche airbag. Why do you need it? Well, we all make mistakes, and having it is like having a seatbelt. It doesn't bother me if you wear your seatbelt or not. Same with an Avalanche airbag. However, it might improve your chances of survival if you kick off an avalanche. So you bet your ass I wear one. Highmark by Snowpulse has a bunch of different packs and vests now. So I believe that their packs are very durable. They're designed specifically for sledders, and you'll see the PAS system, which is the trauma protection unit, and it inflates down over your shoulders and down, trying to protect your vital area and your head from knocking around too much. The other inflatable bag, the RAS system, is just the big classic style bag behind your head. Now, it's important to practice with your airbag. 1, make sure it works. You've got to pull your bag. If it doesn't work, then what good is it going to do you out in the backcountry? 2, pull it every year. At the end of the season, at the start of the season, I like to do it at the start, make sure it's working, and then I do it at the end again just to make sure that, you know, why let it sit with compressed gas all summer. So it's good to check your gear. Again, check with the manufacturer, see if there's any recalls or updates. Picking the right size is nice. There's a bunch of different options now. How many liters do you need in your pack for a successful day? If I'm doing a class, I carry a 30-liter pack because I got to pack more stuff. If I'm out for an aggressive ride with my buddies, a smaller pack around 15 liters is a little bit better. Less weight off my back, and then I put it in my tunnel bag. I like to ride with a tunnel bag because it gets a lot of the extra gear off my back and the weight off my back, especially like my water and food. So I throw that in the tunnel bag along with tools and then some other stuff. So the airbags though, making sure that your right hand doesn't have to pull the handle and you can use your left, because if you're in an avalanche you'll want throttle control to try and get away from it. So making sure you have a left-handed pull trigger on your Avalanche airbag. And then just again doing some research, finding out which one might fit you best, which one is the most durable. There's a lot of forums and people talking out there about the different products. So again, reach out. Everybody's really open to talk with you, especially avalanche educators. It's our job to help inform the public. So here we are, we're trying to get it done. What other gear do we need in the backcountry? Well, I run a tunnel bag. You heard me mention that before. And for me, especially when I'm teaching, I have to take a bunch of extra stuff, right? Extra gloves, extra socks, extra layer or two in case somebody gets cold or we have a problem. I take a pretty healthy first aid kit. All that stuff goes in my tunnel bag. I put water in there, and then depending on the length of ride I'm expecting or the plan that we make the night before or the day before we go ride, I might change how much gear I'm packing. If it's a long ride, I might pack extra fuel. I might pack a more robust toolkit if it's lower snow conditions. I might pack an extra layer, extra socks, and 2 sets of gloves because a storm's rolling in and we're planning on going farther out than we did in the previous ride, or something like that. So adjusting what I pack depending on the ride ahead is pretty important. I carry a sat phone. InReach makes a nice device by Garmin that I use. It's a satellite communication device. It's got an SOS function. It's got predetermined messages I can send, or I can actually work through a text system out there and send specific texts as well. So that works really nice. You can also track your route and send GPS coordinates to people. That way, if you are in trouble, they know where to go to get you. A two-way radio for your riding group is vital. Sleds are fast. They get separated really easily, and we all have that wily buddy who likes to get out there and disappear, get stuck in a creek drainage, or go around the corner, next thing you know he's a mile away. So practicing using two-way radios and understanding how they work and what their range is pretty important. Now, there's a lot of people using the higher wattage radios these days, and those can be really nice. They take a lot more knowledge to learn how to run, how to program, and then there's the FAA issues of legality. So basic, I think it's a 2-watt two-way radio is pretty nice. There's a few different options out there. Mountain Lab makes a very easy one to use. It comes with a case on it to prevent water and freezing in the mic, so that way you can hear your buddies, and there's no dials on the outside. That way you can't bump the channel with your helmet. So a two-way radio for your crew, everybody having one, very important. That way you can stay in communication as you ride, give each other a heads up, and just check in from time to time, see if you're following the plan that you made before your ride, and making sure everything's going well. So other than that, I like personal protection gear, helmet, of course. I wear an upper body kind of shoulder and rib cage spine protector. And then I wore some pretty healthy knee braces from Mobius, and those things are pretty sweet. I like having the padding plus the bracing on my legs and knees. And then what type of gear are you wearing? What's your outerwear like? Finding one of the major manufacturers is pretty important to have the right outerwear for what you're up to. I work with FXR. They have a full range of different options. In the backcountry, it's all about layering as well. I like to get thinner outerwear material so it's non-insulated, and then I layer accordingly depending on the temperatures, maybe how much we're going to be riding, what type of day it is, how aggressive I get, because then that'll change how much I'm working, how hard I'm sweating, and all of that. So having the right setup is pretty key, and that takes a long time to figure out. So we'll probably do another episode on what I do to layer and how I go about regulating my temperatures when I'm riding. As far as the gear, I'm probably missing something, but that's kind of it. Avalanche safety gear is a must. After that, it's up to you to decide what other gear you like to pack. Other than that, it's practicing with your gear. If you have a SAT device, practice with it. Make sure you know how to use it. Make sure you know how to use your radios. Make sure you know how to replace batteries. Open your toolkits, go through them pre-season, and then practice with your safety gear. Practice with your Avalanche gear. Set up your stuff. It's a great time of year to go practice right now. Set it up in the driveway, have some buddies over for a barbecue, put it in the backyard, do whatever you need to do, play with your stuff, and then go take a course. Go take an Avalanche safety course on the snow. An awareness class is great, but it's just talking. You're gonna get some basic overviews. If you go to sign up, pay the money, spend 3 days, actually it's gonna be 2 days this year, or a rescue course is gonna be 1 day on the snow, you've got options. Avalanche rescue course or an ARI level 1, this will get you the best knowledge, hands-on experience that is irreplaceable. And if you ask me, everybody should have a rec level 2 for the amount of riding and the style of riding that we're capable of these days. So that's Get the Gear. Tune in next week. We're gonna do Get the Training. We'll talk about that. And then after that, it'll be Get the Forecast. And then we're gonna talk about Get the Picture. And we'll close it out with Get Out of Harm's Way. So I'm Duncan Lee, this is Let's Ride video series, and thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll get some more info coming to you as we go through this. Let's ride.
Thinking shit fake, but come see, come see, come see. What's good? 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 What's good?